Mike appears to be having a fun time as usual with my voice capture. So I apologize if I either cut out or the mic just doesn't pick me up for whatever reason. It's just been super finicky lately, and I'm not sure if it has to do with NVIDIA broadcast or if it's my mic itself and the pickup pattern. Who knows? But anyways, thank you guys for dropping by and saying hello today. Initially I was gonna do some Monster Hunter Rise tonight, but given a lot that's been going on and how busy I'm about to become as we progress into the holidays proper, I figured tonight might be a good night to just, talk, catch up, hang out, and in general discuss some of the stuff happening with the channel. So there's been a lot of milestones lately, and there's a whole lot to talk about. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna go through all of it. But I guess we're gonna do kind of a general update about the channel and what's going on with it, and just different plans and ideas for the channel moving forward. So if you have any questions, by the way, while I'm talking or anything like that, don't be afraid to drop it into the chat. Or if you see me on Discord, because I know a good number of you that watch or come hang out, also hang out in the Discord, you can shoot me a DM with your question, or ping me, whatever works for you. Tonight I just kind of wanted to vibe and chill out and just talk, or I guess monologue, as it were, because I'm not really talking with anybody at this very moment. So, big steps this past couple months. We introduced, I should say, I introduced a VTuber avatar, which you guys are seeing interact with you right now, as Saika's true form. It's not how I see myself, but it is a fun avatar for me to use until I can have the time, scope, money, etc. to devote to a project to creating a more relevant VTuber to replace her with. But hey, at least you guys see when I'm interacting with you or trying to interact with you. Um, and you guys see some of the fun different emotions that she has available. I do think it's very fun to have a VTuber avatar, and it's definitely one of the better projects I've gotten to work on lately. Speaking of projects, my god, I have such a huge freaking list of things that I want to do, things that I want to explore, I want to create or investigate, not even just for the channel, just for my own sake. Because a lot of what you guys see on the channel are things that interest me, but also things that I'm experimenting with as I progress in just doing different things and just streaming and stuff like that. But I guess one of the bigger challenges that's coming up now is first off, we're having our first really big major giveaway soon for a significant item, a processor, the Ryzen 7 5800X desktop processor. That's going to be given out this November, I think sometime a bit later in the month. So if you're interested in that, of course, feel free to join my Discord because that's the only place it'll be given away. But besides that, and I'm super glad that we've gotten to a point where I can do that kind of giveaway for you guys. But besides that, some other things that I've been working on or looking into have been I'm working with a musician right now. Hi, Flo! I'm working with a musician right now to try and get some music done for the channel, so stuff I can use more safely to be able to have these talking sessions with you. The stuff in the background is supposedly Twitch safe music. I unfortunately do not have the artist name for it, but hopefully they are correct and they are not misleading me, but no problem so far, so I'm gonna assume yes. But as for me, I'm working with a musician to try and get something underway for the channel in terms of just unifying music, soundscapes, whatever you want to call them, and give it a sort of update there just to have something familiar and concrete. It has been super cool. It has been super fun working with them. They have been an amazing person, and we've been through so many drafts already, but I think it's coming out really cool, and I can't wait to share with you guys the finished project. In fact, I'm supposed to be reviewing some new drafts tonight to see how that's going and talking about next steps for it, so super exciting stuff there. But also, I've been working on updating the channel's looks a bit. You guys may have noticed that in the past month or so, I put up a new stream overlay that lists stuff like the latest follower, the latest subscriber, and my social handle, so you can find me on different platforms if that's how you want to connect. Well, YouTube has instituted handles now, so it should be even easier to find me on there. I know for a while we were trying to get the subscriber count up there to be able to get a custom link so you guys could check out the channel whenever you want. But we are finally at that count, by the way. We do have a custom link, and it's pretty straightforward. But now with YouTube handles, I think you should be able to just type in something like youtube.com/@Meepachan, and it'll take you to the same place. It's either with the @ symbol or without it, but either way, it's youtube.com/Meepachan or youtube.com/@Meepachan should take you to the channel. I'll try to see if I can set up that link later here so you guys can see it. No, sorry, I don't have I don't have my chat set up for on stream for this particular screen. This is another screen that's kind of a work in progress, so you guys see the shadows hearth in the background there. That's just the general background, but I'm looking into setting up a system for this chat room scene area, question mark. So you guys can see things like alerts and the chat scroll, and we can do different interesting things with that. I've looked into different Twitch integrations that sound pretty cool. I know there's one out there that gives you like a little bot that appears with you on screen, question mark, and you guys can donate channel points to make it say different things within reason, of course. And that one seemed pretty fun, so I've been looking into that. I recently have been pulling a lot of different items, a lot of different belongings, donating a lot of clothes and toys and stuff. Well, not necessarily toys, but just, you know, books and extra personal items that I've just had for years. And while I was doing that, I found some of my... I was super huge into trading cards. And I found some old Pokemon cards. And in doing so, I just got hit with... Sorry, my dog is being super distracting. Luna, stop it. She is very needy lately because she has gotten into some things she shouldn't have. Hey! Stop it. Okay, fine. You can vibe over there. But, found some old trading cards. I gave a whole bunch of them away. I gave away a lot of Magic cards, Magic the Gathering. I gave away a lot of, Pokemon trading cards. And then I kept a couple decks for myself. Well, newsflash, that didn't last very long because now I'm collecting Pokemon cards again. Because God forbid I clear something out and not replace it. This has also happened with my books. I am a very avid book collector in the sense that if I see a book I like, I will bring that book home. Now, reading it is a different question. Not because I don't like to read, but because I'm usually so busy and so stressed that I don't typically have the time to read. So there's that. So I have a bit of a backlog when it comes to my books. But I've been slowly clearing things out. I've gone from 3 bookcases over time to 2 bookcases to now we're down to 1 bookcase. But I'm struggling with this 1 bookcase because I keep donating lots of different kinds of books. And then I keep replacing them with more books. I'm a self-defeating prophecy. Or that's not what it's called. Self-fulfilling prophecy. But, it got me thinking to all sorts of things. So I've recently started going to like a local game store, checking out what the scene is for Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. And honestly, Pokemon TCG is a lot more interesting to me personally. So I've started attending some events for that, and it's been fun. Different kinds of it's changed a lot since the pandemic happened, so physical events are not as popular. But it's been really fun in like a childish, giddy sort of way to just collect cards again. I don't battle too often. I am working on building a deck now just to see if I could do better than I did when I was a kid, which I'm sure I can, but right now I'm more into the collecting part of it, and I've been very firm with myself about how I'm going to be collecting these cards and how I'm going to be managing these cards, because I don't want to end up with what I did have that I ended up giving away. That was like 7 or 8 different deck boxes full of Pokemon cards, and then another cardboard box just straight up full of Pokemon decks, pre-built, not ones that I built myself. And it's been a slow process, but I'm getting there. I think I'm figuring it out. I have a couple boxes, just a couple tins that I kept for myself that I'm going through slowly and picking out what I want to keep. And then I got myself a special little binder where I keep my fanciest cards or my favorite cards. And those are the ones that are like I will protect, and if I have extras, I'll try to build a deck out of them because I just enjoy them so much. But that's been like my little personal project and something I've personally really been enjoying. um, the other thing I've been working on is a lot of stuff. I don't think you guys understand. A lot of stuff that I do throughout the day, outside of my personal little hobbies here or there, has to do a lot with my channel and different skills that I do. My channel is not my career. I do not make a living off my channel. Um, I don't really make anything significant off my channel. I think throughout this year, I've had a total of 2 payouts through Twitch, and Twitch, for the record, only does a payout. They do this, not me. They only do a payout once I reach about $100. So I know at the beginning of this year I got a payout for $100, and then towards like I want to say a month or so ago, I got my second ever payout. So this is definitely not something I'm doing to make a living off of. This is something that I do because I have fun with it, and I like sharing my games with my friends. I like gaming around other people, but also I like experimenting and learning more about this stuff because my career of choice would be to be a community manager or a similar public relations oriented position for a gaming company. Ideally of my choice, but we rarely live in the ideal. I enjoy experimenting with new tools, and I've been slowly getting better at managing the tools that I do have currently, and I'm starting to expand out. I'm a very busy person in general, so I don't have the time to do everything I would like to do. Um, for example, I would really, really like to have more time to be able to sit and learn proper video editing so I could bring you guys the highlights to my YouTube channel instead of just posting recaps of all my streams. While I would still maintain a Twitch archive, I would ideally just love to be able to take out the funny moments from each video and put them in a video for you guys so you guys can enjoy. Unfortunately, I don't have the time for that, and I definitely don't have the skill set. So that would probably be something that falls under hiring somebody like an editor or something to do it on a regular basis. Now, I'm not in a position where I can do that currently. Not because I don't want to pay an editor well, but because I respect the editor and their work. So I'm not gonna try to hire somebody without having the means to comfortably do that at a regular basis. And I don't feel comfortable doing gig work for editing either, because then there's just no real set style for the channel and the quality fluctuates, and that's just not fun for anybody. So that's one of my long-term view projects for the channel. But besides that, things like managing a Twitter account and managing Twitch and managing YouTube all at once is a lot of work. And then making it work with a Discord server, which does not work for everybody, is a whole other beast. Hi, Three Thunders. Most of the guys that most of you guys that see me here, I have met in some way, shape, or form on Discord. I know I have several followers that have not met me on Discord, and that's okay too. But for the most part, given the size of my following as of this stream, which on Twitch is like 360 followers currently, most of you guys have encountered me on Discord, and I can say that pretty comfortably because I talk to most of you guys on Discord pre-stream, after stream, so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm still on Twitter. I'm not as active on it as I used to be. I do try to keep up posting my schedule and stuff. For those of you not following the news, I'm not really gonna go into it, but Twitter as a platform has become extremely questionable for advertisers and content creators of all kinds. So, I don't know if I'm gonna continue using it. I currently use it out of convenience, much like I do my VTuber avatar or just post recaps. It's an action of convenience that just makes my life easier versus going to a different social network that I'm not super familiar with and trying to make that work. Uh, Twitter will be fine in certain respects, but I disagree in other respects. It's just a very transitional. There's a very transitional time, and I'm not really gonna. Again, I'm not really gonna go into details as to why this is such a big issue or anything like that for a number of different groups of people. But the times are changing as they normally do, and things come and go, and Twitter is in that position where um it wasn't on the way out, but it's this is gonna like make or break it. I definitely feel like it's a unique platform for just a lot of short format opinions and discussions and all sorts of different things. It's really hard to define Twitter very easily. You are correct. There isn't really a great alternative to Twitter. There are a few that are definitely contenders, but because of the way they work, they don't quite work the same way, and therefore they don't quite fill that niche as much. Of course, with the advent of things like TikTok and similar platforms, it's an arguable question as to where everybody sits with each other now. But enough about that. I'm not here to talk about Twitter all night. Just know that it's kind of on fire right now, and that um things will eventually sort themselves out. But for now, I am still on Twitter, and if you want to keep up with my stream schedule, Twitter and Discord is the way to go. Mostly Discord, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't, I talk about it in every one of my gaming streams, but I don't think a lot of people understand just how heavily I use Discord and depend on Discord to get news out. And interact with you guys in a meaningful manner. I personally really enjoy Discord. I have been using it for 5+ years, and most of my community management experience has actually been a result of being a part of Discord throughout my college schooling and gaming and everything like that. Are there any games that you plan on featuring on the channel? If so, do you also take suggestions? Um, that's two questions, so I'm gonna answer the first part of it first. Yes, I have some games that I'm really, really, really excited to play that I want to showcase on Twitch. Not sure about YouTube yet, because again, the whole editing thing, but definitely on Twitch, and then just have the recaps available for them. One of those games I did get to play recently, which was Plague Tale Requiem. If you're into nitty-gritty, kind of darker stories set in a historical period, that might be a cool one for you to watch. I heavily recommend checking out a playthrough of Plague Tale Innocence first, and then doing Requiem, just for the context. But I think you can still enjoy Requiem a bit without Innocence in the background. Is the stream slow for you guys? I see Flo asking if the stream crashed. My internet's still pretty good, so it might be a Twitch side thing. It's showing pretty steady for me. My bitrate is still good. But, I'm not sure. Not sure about that. Error 2000. Alright, well, I'm just chilling here, so I might as well look that up. What is that? The Twitch error code 2000 is, or simply Twitch error 2000, is a network error that occurs when the website does not detect a secure connection or when it detects an unstable connection. The error usually pops up on the screen with the words, "There was a network error." Interesting. My internet is still well connected though, so I'm not super positive. Like, I keep very tight monitors on dropped frames and encoding and my bitrate especially, but my bitrate is still good according to my end. I see that on Twitch specifically, they've dropped it down to around 4,000, or maybe only 4,000 is coming through. But on my end, it seems to be working, so I'm not super positive how to help with that. Oh, all of Twitch. Oh, then maybe it's just a Twitch thing right now. Hiccups happen. This website processes a lot of video from a lot of streamers a lot bigger than me. Well, keep in mind that I am a teeny tiny streamer, and therefore I don't take any priority when it comes to their streaming. So if this is generally around prime time, I feel like, for a lot of streamers. So if there's a bigger streamer with like hundreds of thousands of viewers on versus me, Twitch will prioritize their data more than mine. And that's just simple business sense. It's business logic. So in any case, what was I saying? Before we all went down that Twitch rabbit hole. Alright, Discord! If you guys want to be a considerably bigger part of the community... Oh, now none were. Oh, interesting. This is an interesting evening for me. Because it's not like... For any of you guys that have been around my streams for any extensive period of time, you guys know that it's not one of my streams. It's not one of my streams without technical difficulties. But it honestly looks like it's on Twitch's end. Seems like there might be a potential outage going on. Well, I'm not sure how much of this is gonna record or not. On my end, it's still playing like normal, so I'm just gonna, I guess, keep talking. But as I was saying, Discord is the way to reach me for the most part and see everything that's going on. You guys basically get a live feed of different things that I'm doing as it happens. I know for sure Flo has seen some of that in action when I just talk in general about everything I plan to do, which is usually chaotic and it doesn't always happen, but Whew, sorry, had to take a drink. Anyways, I got distracted on the question I was answering, and I super apologize, because I went back to a point that I had already kind of discussed. Featuring games, yes. This next year, I am gonna be doing Arc 2 when that comes out. We still don't really have news. Beyond being delayed until 2023, we still don't really have news as to when that game's gonna come out. So I can't really talk on that much. Another game I would really like to stream is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which Ubisoft announced and then did nothing else with. I don't know where that project ended up at, so I can't really comment on that one. But I would like to play it because I'm a sucker for the Avatar franchise and I freaking love Pandora and the world building behind it. Oh, I would absolutely delight in a well-made open world game for Pandora and the Avatar world as a whole. The other game that I am looking forward to playing, and this has to do with me setting up my Switch again for my PC, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Though I'm going to be playing Pokemon Violet for the most part, I do have a setup available on my computer that should let me be able to play it on stream for you guys, and I hopefully will have that set up Still want to continue my playthrough of Pokemon Legends Arceus. I haven't finished that one yet, surprisingly. I've just been super busy. But I think I'll get there. If you guys were in my Discord, you saw that recently I got a hold of an OLED Switch with one of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet OLED switches, which are ridiculous and stupidly hard to get a hold of because scalpers on the internet and their bots scooped up all the pre-orders, so I basically had to go out and drive to several different stores just to find it. But I did find it, and I came home victorious, and now I have higher quality equipment than my Gen 1 Switch with its dying battery, and I'm really happy about it. I am still riding that specific high, because it is such a beautiful Switch. Now, as for channel suggestions, is it still breaking up for you guys? Oh, you guys are in Europe. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It's possible. Oh, Snazzy is in the US, I think, and is also experiencing the pausing. Sounds like it's going crazy over there, guys. No, not you, Snazzy. I know you're in the US, but I think Flo and Three Thunders are in the in Europe. I can't talk tonight. It's definitely Twitch at that point. Like, I kid you not, my internet is perfectly fine and fast right now. Typically, if I'm having issues from my end, I will also be stuttering, and on top of that, I will be unable, like, you would probably be hearing my background music right now stuttering. I would be unable to do a number of things. But, to answer the second part of that question about channel suggestions, I do accept channel suggestions, but I treat them as just that, suggestions. I tend to be a very picky I tend to be a very picky sort of gamer, so I have niche interests, and if a game does not fall under those interests, there's not a super high chance I'll play it. So, prime example, Markiplier's thing is playing a lot of horror games, and he will play all sorts of different kinds of suggested horror games, but they're specifically horror games. And he gets suggestions for a number of other games that he might never get around to or might never touch. It's kind of like that. Except I can't stand horror games, so please don't send me horror game suggestions, because I will not play them. But it's a similar concept, right? So if you send me a suggestion for a roguelike game, right, that's super hardcore and intense but has a really fun art style, I might think the art style is cool. I will check it out, but I probably won't play it, or if I do, it would probably be like a one-shot thing, because it's just not something I would personally have fun with, and it's not typically in my interest. Now, that's not to say it's a bad game, and I'm glad that it got suggested. I just don't want people to treat suggestions as a guarantee that, oh, she's gonna check it out, that means she's gonna play it. No, I'll check it out and see if it's something I'll play. Prepare for Titanfall. Didn't Titanfall end, though? Like, don't get me wrong, I remember when I think Titanfall 1 came out. I think I was still in high school or middle school when that one happened. I could be wrong, though. I could be overthinking that part. But Titanfall, and then Titanfall 2 happened, and then the game kind of just, like, the series kind of just died, didn't it? Or am I wrong? They weren't gonna do another one, I don't think. Or maybe they left it up in the air and then just never did anything with it. I'm not sure. I never played Titanfall. I don't have any experience with it. closest thing I have in terms of experience is MechWarriors, and that was completely different than Titanfall because of Apex. Oh, yeah, well, I wouldn't know anything about that. Unfortunately, I haven't played games like that. I haven't played Titanfall. I haven't played Destiny. I definitely really don't care about Destiny. But I understand the appeal. I played Apex. I tried it out when I was a part of Team Lenovo, when working with the Lenovo company. But I didn't like Apex either. I see the appeal again, but PvP games and me are not typically getting along outside of Century. Didn't play. I mean, I tried Fortnite. Didn't like Fortnite. I tried Smite. I think it's called. Didn't like that either. I basically tried most different popular games that other players seem to enjoy in terms of multiplayer play, and I just can't get behind them because PvP games are just not my game, not my thing. It was terrible. I agree with you on Apex. I don't think Apex is a terrible game so much as it's just not my cup of tea. You know, I have some diehard Apex fans in my community as well as in the Lenovo community, which is where I typically encounter them. And I can see why. I wish I could get into that kind of gameplay. It's just not for me. Same thing with Call of Duty. I don't find that interesting. It's the same thing reskinned every year, and it's just another PvP game where Twitch reflexes save the day. And me, with my tremors and my unwillingness to use trainers to try and work on my aim, am not going to enjoy a game where everybody else is just super hardcore, fast shooting everything and screaming children. Ugh. But for me, yeah, for me, the amount of people screaming at me on VC for revive scarred me for life. See, this is where I would be the worst person ever, because if a game gives me the ability to, I will turn off in-game voice chat. I don't want to deal with it. Unless you're like my close friend and we're hanging out together and I know you, I will not deal with it. I would rather we call each other on Discord and I'll talk with you and you specifically, and that's it. That's one of the things I like about Sentry, is I don't have to hear people screaming. I can just turn it all off and play the game I enjoy. And then that's that. But for me, the games that I tend to enjoy tend to be a lot of survival games. Survival, farming sims. I play the occasional. I play a lot of simulators, honestly, but I play the occasional story-based game. So like Plague Tale, Requiem, Plague Tale Innocence, Halo, that kind of stuff. And then my interests kind of just vary depending on what's coming out and what's already out. So for this month, we're playing some games that I already know or I'm already familiar with, that I've already played before and that I'm willing to play again. But not really many new games except MechWarrior 5. I did try Elden Ring. There is an episode of me playing Elden Ring somewhere out there, unless I forgot to transfer it to YouTube, which is an intense possibility because I forget everything. But I did try Elden Ring, couldn't get into it. Loved the world, don't get me wrong. Loved the details of the artwork specific to the world and the way the system works and the general lore behind it, because it's really cool. The worlds that have been built around that kind of style from FromSoft have been absolutely incredible. I don't want to say it's a bad game at all. It's just not for me. And it's not even the dying part that gets me, right? Because you're basically supposed to die in that game, really, over and over and over again and learn from the mistakes. It's just that, like, that kind of grinding is tiresome to me. Not that I can't deal with dying itself, but that I know I'm probably going to be dying 20 plus times in any given instance for the craziest things, including the ridiculously precise hitboxes. And I was just like, I'm not really enjoying myself. I think I'm just gonna let this one go. Which is a shame because I was actually really interested in the story and everything that's going on in the game. And I know there's like 8 different endings in the game. And it's a shame, but I can look those up. I can look up those cutscenes and look up the lore and read all about it all I want. I'm not gonna kill myself for dozens of hours at a time to make the minuscule amount of progress I need to get to where I want to go. And then that and also the PvP, like being invaded and stuff. I don't think there was a way for you to just keep that from happening, so that was always a threat as well that I did not personally enjoy as a mechanic. I get why it was there. I just didn't appreciate it. But not a bad game in general. I tried a couple of other PvP games just to see it that were more in like my interest range, just to see if I could stick with it. Didn't quite work out. So Hunt Showdown was one of those. Love the world in there as well. They have really cool design choices and characters, and interesting gameplay choices. However, it's not a game that I found myself able to tolerate for long periods of time on my own. It's just PvP games and me are never gonna be friends. I do like shopkeeping games. So there's this really cool one that I played years ago that I kind of want to try and play again, called Recettear or Racketeer. I think it's supposed to be a joke on the word racketeer, but it's to my knowledge it's a really cheap game on Steam that's all about running a shop, and it's not a AAA style game or anything like that. It was just an indie development that I personally just really enjoyed because I really enjoyed shopkeeping and also the dungeon crawling aspect of it to get more materials to then sell to my customers depending on what was in at that season or whatever. That they just had a bunch of really cool mechanics for such a small game that I really enjoyed. As far as simulators go, one of the ones that I want to check out more, and I'll probably check it out this month as well, just as a part of kind of like a Thanksgiving-y feeling, is Sunhaven. I actually backed that one on Kickstarter. Wasn't super sure about it, but the premise looked nice. Well, they released their early access, and it's been phenomenal. Even they're at patch 0.6, they started at 0.1, and each patch, like each 0.1 past that, is a major patch where they add significant parts of what they promised in the Kickstarter. And they're at 0.6 on their way to 1.0. And that patch, I think they refactored all their multiplayer settings and stuff like that, so it should run a lot more smoothly, and they're adding more to the map, more quest lines. And I've already experienced a decent amount of what they've put in already, and it was already freaking amazing. I can only imagine how it'll be like once we finally get to 1.0. My only sadness is that I would really like to play it on Switch just for that extra portability. And also because I don't have a Steam Deck, which is fine. But unfortunately, that's not gonna happen till 1.0. Sad, but it is what it is. I am looking forward to when it does eventually come to Switch, though, because it's just such a fun little game, and I highly recommend checking it out if you're into farm sims like I am. The other thing that I occasionally play are things like 4X strategy games, where the closest one I can think of that was really popular for the longest time, and it's still a solid title to go into, is like Civilization 5, Civilization 4, the Civilization series by Sid Meier's. I played a couple of those. It's a bit too long of a game for me to maintain my interest in for extensive periods of time. And by long of a game, I mean to actually play the game through each of its stages takes a really, really long time. And if you're playing that game with other friends, it's like you got to make a commitment to play through one of those games and have a lot of patience for that. It's not a bad game. It's fun and it has its own funny memes, but it's something I definitely would have to be in the mood for. Development sims. So Farthest Frontier was the one I tried recently. That one, it has a really fascinating way of working with your settlers and stuff like that. It's your typical real-time strategy game where you have to manage your resources carefully and build different structures to try and survive the winter, stuff like that. But by and large, most of my interests sit in fantasy and simulation games or survival games. It's been a long time since I found games that really captivate my interest beyond that general range. So I do enjoy a lot of monster type games. So Monster Hunter Rise is an example of one of those. Where you hunt big monsters and their monsters are really cool and fleshed out and the world is very vibrant and living. I know Dauntless is another suggestion I've received in terms of monster hunting type games, but I feel like Monster Hunter fills that niche so well that I wouldn't really branch out into something like Dauntless. But I do enjoy the notion of these games. I also enjoy just open world games in general. Zelda Breath of the Wild was amazing. I still haven't finished the story for that one, unfortunately, because again, super busy. But I have spent dozens of hours just exploring, gathering shrines, taming horses, fighting guardians, helping people, and just generally taking in the viewpoint or relaxing. It's an incredible, wonderful game. I'm glad it exists. But also Red Dead Redemption 2. I enjoy that one heavily. Red Dead Online. I'm sad that it's kind of just a decaying relic of Rockstar's interest. But beyond that, it's still lovely to just boot it up once in a while and ride your horse around and take in the fantastic scenery. Because that game is absolutely beautiful. But yeah. All in all, feel free to drop me suggestions anytime. I promise that even if I don't play it, I'll take a look at it and see if it's something that I would play. That's how I encountered a couple of different games like Stray, Path of Titans, which I haven't been playing a lot recently, but I do enjoy as just a general survival game. Not super relaxing, and it is PvP, but there are just some days where you can literally just vibe all day in that game, and it's great. As far as big projects coming that are affecting the channel, if you guys have been a part of my Discord recently, or, well, I don't think I've really talked about this on Twitch too much. But, sorry, not Twitch, Twitter. But if you've been a part of my Discord at all in the recent couple months, you'll know that I have been heavily investing in equipment and materials to raise quail. And I do mean that in the absolute literal physical sense. Not talking about raising them in a game or anything. I'm talking about just straight up, I'm getting some birds. Some really cute orb-like orbs. And I'm gonna be raising them for meat and eggs, and some for color. But I've been super excited about this, and I'm happy to say that on January, we'll finally be getting our first quail eggs to hatch. And you guys know that I have been eager to set up a camera or a quail cam so you guys can see some of that stuff going on YouTube and maybe on my Twitch stream if it allows. I do not have a camera to set up yet, but I have my eyes on a couple of models that look promising, and hopefully you guys will be able to see things like the eggs being rotated, and also the chickies when they come out, when they hatch, and that kind of stuff. I'm super excited. Like, you guys don't, I know I probably don't sound it because I'm not great at emoting with my voice, but I am super hyped for these little chickies. I can't wait to get the eggs and hatch them out and just see what different colors come out and see how it goes. I have had quail eggs personally before. I love them. I find them to be tastier than chicken eggs, but they are tinier. The quail I'm getting supposedly lay large eggs for quail, so I more than likely will not be dealing with tiny eggs like the last ones I had. But I am excited for delicious eggs. I have not had quail meat before, but I'm eager to try, and I have been looking at different recipes for quail, so I'm super curious about that. But all in all, I am just really excited to have a new project as part of just my personal interest in areas of suburban farming and self-sufficiency. Now, just because these animals are going to be raised for meat and eggs doesn't mean I won't give them the utmost quality of life I can. So I have made sure that I can provide these animals with all of their needs and comforts to make sure that they're happy and healthy where they are. That includes looking into habits that are helpful for them, treats that might be tasty in moderation, and other foods that might help them stay healthy and happy. Their ideal exposures for temperatures, light, stuff like that, and just a nice, cozy home for them to be able to enjoy. The really cool thing about quail is that, unlike chickens or other larger roaming birds or waterfowl, even, they don't really need a lot of space, and they don't really need a lot of additional materials. So, unlike chickens, they don't need roosting bars or additional enrichment in the form of toys and stuff like that. But they do prefer having something of a dust bath for their entertainment, and small spaces. So if you have 1 square foot of space, then generally speaking, you have room to raise 2 or 3 quail, which is nuts to me. But I've been doing so much research about these guys, and it's true. They just really enjoy small, confined spaces, and it's really cute. But I look forward to being able to provide those views for this quiz. And even if I can't provide a camera for long periods of times, I will definitely be recording videos about these little chickies as they grow and start producing, and my own experience in raising them, because I am a first-time quail farmer. So this will be a whole new experience for me, as it is for you. We'll learn together, and it'll be great. It'll be fun. I personally really love animals, so this is enjoyable for me. So that's a big project that's coming to the channel, even if it's not directly related to gaming. So I guess you get a twofer when it comes to my channel. You get gaming content and quail, or soon to be quail. The only reason I haven't gotten the eggs already and have started the process of incubating them and stuff has literally been I'm going on a trip this December to see my father. So it's not an ideal time to hatch chicks and then leave them to somebody else to take care of while I disappear for 10 days and then come back. But when I get back, the quail eggs will be on their way, and we shall have chickies in like 2 weeks or so. But that'll be fun. As for the holidays, I've been kind of reflecting a lot on just how far the channel's come so far. We did reach 500 members recently, so woo! Congrats to that. I'm super happy that we reached that milestone to begin with, and we're still slowly climbing, which is awesome. The next goal is to try and make partner on Discord, because I really enjoy Discord, and I think we can do it, and I think we can create a really incredible community on it, especially ahead of a brand new year of games and fun and events and growth. So that's gonna be my personal next goal. As for additional goals beyond that, I've already met all my personal goals that I had when I first set out on this project, and so a lot of this additional stuff has just been gravy, if that makes sense. Just extra goodness that has happened since I started, and I'm super, super thankful for you guys for just continually giving support and providing support for the channel and my projects. Like, it kind of boggles my mind that even at as tiny as I am, that I have this many people that are interested in either what I have to say or what I have to play or offer in terms of just discourse, gaming, or company, really. So yeah, thank you guys for that. As for where the channel's gonna go from here, I I guess it depends, you know? I don't intend to stop streaming anytime soon. But I do want to start putting an effort towards learning more skills and trying more things for not just content but just my own growth. I want to start doing things like art streams because I really want to get back into my artwork, and I really want to get better at digital art in general. And also just share my artwork with people. But also stuff like I want to start doing lore videos, lore building videos. I have, as some of you might know, that I have a project going on that's going to be it's going to take years to fulfill. But I want to be able to produce a tabletop RPG book for my own personal world that I have. I have a bunch of lore that I've kept in my brain and worked on for years and years that I've never really gotten to share with anybody, if that makes sense. That I would really like to put into a book, but not just put into a book for people to passively read, but put into a book that people can use to create their own games. Not necessarily Dungeons and Dragons either, but just something that you can play on your own or with other people that you meet, and hopefully easy to pick up and have fun with. And I don't know where it's gonna go yet because I'm really bad at building systems, but I am determined to publish this book eventually. So that's another thing that I want to start working on more concretely as the year goes on. Events at my Discord. You guys might notice I do a lot of events with decent prizes for people to earn just for taking part of it. So right now we're doing a holiday event, a holiday art competition, a creative contest. And if you take part, there's a chance to win $100 in Steam Cash, but there's also a second place and a third place prize for I think $50 and $25 in Steam Cash respectively. So it's decent chances overall to win something fun. And with each of these creative contests that I've seen, I'm learning more and more about what you guys enjoy and what you guys don't enjoy, and what works and what doesn't work. And none of it is wasted time or effort to me. We did earlier in the year, we did reaction based stories that people could vote on to decide what was going to happen next in the story. That was a big success for a lot of people. So I've been considering bringing some of that back to provide some additional entertainment for you guys on Discord, but also to explore some of that world that I mentioned that I've got in my brain, that I've had in my brain for years. So hopefully that'll be a thing in the future, probably starting in January. A lot of things will probably be starting in January because we're really late into the year, and like I said, I'm gonna be real busy for this time period. I did recently pick up Ark for the Switch. If you don't know, Ark kind of hi. Oh, thank you for the subscription. I'm sorry, my alerts are not on this page yet because this page is kind of like a work in progress. but I appreciate it, and I see you, and thank you so much, Sir Drake Wellington, for the Prime Gaming sub. But that does remind me. Oh, that was hyper loud and super delayed. Jesus. God. Whoa. That was a lot louder than anticipated. I apologize for that. I didn't. It's not usually that loud. I don't know why I got so excited about it. Maybe it pinged it all at once. I don't know. But that happened. But that does seriously remind me though, guys. Earlier in the year, and by earlier in the year I mean like a month or so ago, I mentioned that I'm phasing out Twitch rewards because I don't agree with what Twitch has been doing as a platform recently and how they handle affiliates and subscriptions in general. So for those of you unaware, I see half of whatever sub that you provide to me, if even that. The details of it are kind of a little finicky. And then I get, I think, like a few pennies for forced ads on my channel, which I can't remove. I can't really, like, I run pre-roll ads just so that I don't have ads for as long as possible, and interrupting gameplay. But unfortunately, I still have ads, and I only get pennies for those. And then you guys get a mixture of rewards in the form of emotes and stuff, but in general, it's just not efficient. So, and I've also had people that approach me, either because they're not comfortable spending anything on Twitch, which is fine. I don't ask for anything, and I don't depend on this for survival, as I mentioned before. But I've also had people approach me saying, you know, they don't want to support Amazon, or they don't feel comfortable uh, with their information on a site like Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, and perfectly understandable. I also have reservations about Twitch. It's why I don't subscribe to anybody. Not because I don't like them, but because I just don't care to give Amazon my money. Why should they get half of the money I intend for a different creator for existing? I mean, I get it. If Twitch didn't exist, that creator would not be streaming. But at the same time, I feel like 50% is a bit of a steep cut for your affiliates. But you know what? I get it. I get it. You gotta keep the lights on somehow, even though you're a multi-billion-dollar company. But my gripes aside, I took this feedback, and I took it to my Ko-fi page, which I've had for years now, because I did commissions through it, and I did my blogging through it, and a whole number of other things in general that I've done through Ko-fi. And Ko-fi has grown a lot over the years. If you are looking for an alternative platform to start either earning your own money or just accepting donations or any number of other things, and you don't want to worry about fees, I really heavily recommend Ko-fi, even above Patreon. I really enjoy the way they handle their clients and creators, and I feel a lot better about investing in them than I do in Twitch, for example. So the thing about Ko-fi is that Ko-fi, for basic donations, like every creator can can get a coffee bought for them for like $3, and Ko-fi doesn't take any of that. Now, if you use certain aspects of them that are more advanced, like memberships and stuff, they take only, I think, 5% for processing. So that 5% goes towards paying the PayPal, paying the bank for just being able to process that transaction. But that's it. That's that's that little 5% fee. They have a membership program that you can subscribe to for $50 a year to support the website, and it gives you access to additional customization for your pages, additional options for memberships, additional options for commissions, and all that jazz. I am a Ko-fi Gold member for like 5 years now, I think. I've never regretted it. It's been super useful for me as a creator, and it makes me feel good because I am supporting a website, because that is the way they support themselves, those little subscriptions. And $50 a year is not a lot to ask for a website that processes so much for the creators. But I'm getting off track. I turned my Ko-fi into a membership page, and this is in reference to what you guys have seen me make an announcement for on Twitter already, the Cookie Club. Everybody knows Saika loves cookies, and you can get her more cookies by joining the Cookie Club. But basically what it is, it's my answer to Twitch subs, essentially. The lowest level of it is $5, which I believe is the average cost of a Twitch sub. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then there are additional levels above that you can take if you just want to give me additional support on a monthly basis or a recurring basis. Of course, that doesn't mean that you're not able to do one-time donations. So if you didn't want to do monthly support, but you wanted to give me like $5 here or there, you can do that. I still have that up. But my thing was, I felt like Ko-fi respected my time more as a creator, and I felt like it respected my viewers more for their investment. Now, I don't have a whole lot on Cookie Club yet because, simply put, we're really tiny, and again, I don't depend on this to make a living. So it's really, there's nothing you're gonna be really locked out of if you're not in Cookie Club, as opposed to if you're in it. If you're in it, you get bonus content in the form of like these kinds of chats would be more live streams that I would reserve for members like that, as an example. But you can take a vote on stuff that I'm going to be doing in the channel later. You can provide suggestions and additional materials and talk on different things that I'm thinking about introducing before anybody else gets to see them. That kind of stuff. But for example, my gaming content isn't suddenly going to go away for you if you don't support me. If I make a highlight reel, you're not going to be locked out of it because you don't support me. So Cookie Club kind of just acts as this, just like a little additional bonus, like, oh yay, you are helping me out and you like my content enough to support me, and I deeply appreciate that. Here is a special role on Discord, and now you have access to the Cookie Club Lounge. And yeah, that's that. So I really, since I'm gonna be phasing out Twitch rewards at the start of 2023, as in there's not gonna be anything unique to Twitch that isn't already on my Discord or my Twitter available to you guys. I heavily suggest that if you guys want to continue supporting me, I heavily recommend doing my Ko-fi page. But just remember, it's not necessary. Hey, I think you were talking about Ark on the Switch. What was that about? Ark came out on the Switch recently. On November 1st? For the United States, at least. I think it was November 1st. They came out with the Ultimate Survivor Edition, which has the base game, Ark Scorched Earth, which is their first expansion, Ark Aberration, which is their second expansion, and then what was the other one? Ark Genesis Part 1 and Part 2. And currently you can only play the Island and Scorched Earth, but they're working on if you buy the Ultimate Survivor Edition, you basically buy the Season Pass, is how I understand it, and they're gonna be introducing the rest of those expansions over time until the end of March, I believe, which is when Genesis Part 2 is released onto the Twitch. Oh yeah, and Ark Extinction. That's the expansion pack I was forgetting about. I personally, I love Ark. I have over 4,000 hours on it on Steam, so it was an easy purchase for me. But I was also just curious about how Ark would run on a Switch, because you have ever played if you have ever played Ark on the PC, you know that it's pretty resource intensive, and that's for a number of reasons, including the fact that Ark initially, when it first came out, was a first-time development by a really tiny group of developers that kind of just exploded in popularity over the years. So you got their initial errors in coding, and then you've got spaghetti code on top of that has just kind of built up over the years without being properly optimized on a really old version of Unreal Engine 4, I want to say. I think it's 4. I think Ark was built on Unreal Engine 4. It couldn't have been 3. Pretty sure it was 4. But but I was kind of just wondering how a Switch would handle something like that, because Ark was super spaghetti, and I know they gave it to another company, another couple of companies actually, to port it onto the Switch. And this is like the second time this is happening. So there's like an older version that didn't quite work out because the last company didn't, I don't know, do what they were supposed to or whatever. But I was really pleasantly surprised, honestly. Now the UI of it all is still plays out a lot like Ark on PC, so it's definitely more friendly to your touchscreen controls and a mouse in general. But it runs a lot smoother. My Switch personally isn't struggling with it at all, so I played it for an hour or so last night, and my Switch didn't even really heat up, which was great because my old Switch would have definitely been dying. But the game runs pretty smooth. The graphics are definitely toned back a bit, which is understandable because it's the Nintendo Switch. Unfortunately, the Switch does have limitations on that front, but it still looks amazing. Still looks great. And they also changed the way some of the single player settings work, so I don't have as easy access to certain specific settings because they're just not available in the Switch version. But it's nothing I can't figure out on my own with enough work. I've set up servers before. I think I can set up my own single player save, which is what I'm doing. I'm basically treating Ark on Switch as my single player game, essentially. Because I really enjoy Ark, but I do not have the patience nor the time to upkeep a base again on the official servers. And I don't have the patience to find an unofficial server that I might like to play on the Switch and deal with that. So single player it is! And then I'll do whatever the heck I want on non-dedicated if somebody ends up wanting to play with me on Switch or something, which I doubt, heavily doubt will ever happen, because my Switch friends list is shorter than I have fingers to count on, so. Sorry, I was taking a drink. But yeah, it looks cool so far. Ark on PC just had Extra Life. I was hoping moderate for that. It was a really cool stream to check out. They released Karchar. Oh, you're gonna have to forgive me for this one because I don't remember how the word is spelled. I know the dinosaur. I just don't remember how the word is spelled, so I'll probably mess this up really bad. Sorry, my dino friends. But Carcharodontosaurus? I think it was called? They call him Karchar for short. He was released on PC Ark. I don't know when he will be released on Switch Ark, but he basically spawns where Gigas spawn. And I messed around with him on single player on my copy of Ark on PC. I personally love him. Can't wait to encounter him on Switch Ark, which I told will be happening at a later date. No clear indicator of what date that is, but at a later date. And what was the other one? I thought there was one more, but I think I'm thinking about something else. But essentially what Arc is doing, or the Arc team, Studio Wildcard, is that with the Survivor Edition, they kind of wrapped everything up and cleaned everything up for Arc and just put it out as a complete package after 7 years of development, essentially. Which, kudos, congratulations to them for making it this far. They went from a really, really niche indie game to a game franchise that now has millions of players across consoles, which is not an easy feat to work towards or go through. And they've used their platform to raise money for Children's Hospital, most recently with the Extra Life stream and all that. So it's been pretty crazy to see them grow, even though I came in later in the game as well for them. I think I came in 4 years in. So it's been really, really cool to see. And I personally can't wait for Arc 2. Now, when I played Arc Switch, I was very pleasantly surprised that when I started my single player file, there was a cutscene. And the cutscene basically introduced you to a I'll try not to spoil too much of it if it's actually something you guys want to explore later. But you see a sort of glowy blue figure talking to you, saying how she's been waiting for you, that you might be the one, and how you have to explore the island and befriend its creatures like she did a very long time ago, which was very surprising. I'm a huge fan of the lore of this game. I am super happy that they added this kind of stuff. The other thing that was missing from Scorched Earth specifically for the longest time was an Ascension cutscene. They added that into Scorched Earth, even though for years they had been saying they never would. Polished that up and added the Ascension cutscene. And I think they also added voice acting to all the Explorer's notes. So you no longer have to wonder what Explorer's notes say in Latin or Chinese or Greek or any number of other languages that they've been written in, because they have voice acting now, which is pretty cool. It's those little things that I really enjoy in a game. I loved Arc, and I tried to find as many Explorer notes as I could, but it definitely adds to it now that they have, voiceovers, cutscenes, stuff like that. The game is not linear at all, so if you want to learn the story, you have to explore, and you have to go into caves and do all sorts of other stuff to be able to learn the full story of the arc. But all in all, just really epic game, and it makes me sad that like, I know Arc 2 is coming out, but it feels like the end of an era, and it makes me sad anyways, because it's just super fun and super cool, and I'm super pumped for Arc 2 this coming year, whenever that is. The other game I'm super excited to play this coming year is Hogwarts Legacy, which I think is finally gonna come out this spring? ? I can't remember when they said it would come out, but it's getting close, and the gameplay footage looks pretty interesting. I'm not a super huge Harry Potter nerd, but I do enjoy the concept of the schools and the different houses. It's like I told somebody else that I recently met, if you want to make something sell, just put teams in it, essentially. Because I'm just a sucker for that kind of stuff. Pokemon Go, you got the 3 teams, Team Valor, Team Mystic, Team Instinct. Boom! Easy money, easy merch. Hogwarts, you got Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, Boom, there you go. Easy popularity. Now, it doesn't work with everybody. If you still have a really crap IP, it doesn't matter how many teams you put in there, it's still gonna suck, but like, another example, Magic the Gathering, one of their most popular sets ever were the Guilds of Ravnica. There were 10 guilds in total. I freaking loved that set because of those guilds. They added so much flavor to the world, and it was really, really super cool to see how they all interacted in this massive city. Me personally, I was a huge fan of Selesnya, but it was just further proof of what I mean. Just put teams in it. Put interesting teams with some interesting lore. Even just like two sentences of lore, and there you go. Instant popularity and division. Now, I will say again, my caveat is if it's been done before and if it's not novel, you can still mess up with teams, of course. Because everybody knows that. Team Cell. Example, Magic the Gathering did Strixhaven, which was basically their interpretation of Hogwarts, or at least that's what it felt like. If they were going for a different sensation, they kind of missed that mark. But basically, you had the College of Silverquill, I think, Lorehold, uh, Prismatic, Prisma, or something like that, and what was that last one? Witherbloom. That's it. The School of Witherbloom. Four different schools with their own sets of mana, and it was not interesting to me. But I think part of that issue was just what they chose for each representation was kind of boring. So the Witherbloom school had green and black mana. It was like life and death mixed together, but not life in the philosophical sense. It was life as in like, growth, plants and fauna and stuff like that, and then zombies. Like, okay, uh, cool. And then Silver Quill was like the really rich kids that were super haughty, and they just did like they have black and white mana. So, but instead of like zombies, it was uh writing and ink and words question mark. I don't remember. I wasn't super into Strixhaven, so I'm probably getting a lot of this lore super wrong. But it was because it wasn't interesting. And then Lorehold was just lore. I love lore, don't get me wrong, but the whole school was just scrolls. It was fire, and so red and white mana, and the whole thing was like they really like kind of like an archaeologist. They really like studying the history of different things and collecting the history and the lore and all that. But cool, they were made to be out to be like explorers and very knowledgeable students and stuff like that. But it wasn't like that. Doesn't sound interesting to me. I'm sorry. And then the last one was the Prismatic School of Arts, which felt like a really generic school of magic arts. Not even joking there. It was fire, it was red and blue mana, and then their whole thing was like they just, they used the elements to create some really pretty works of art. Nothing wrong with that. Be an artist of whatever you want to be. But it did feel like generic art school number 50,721, it didn't stick out. So that's, those are examples of stuff that where teams and houses and groups don't quite work in your favor despite having a big IP. If you don't have an interesting idea or you don't execute it well, it's gonna fall a little flat. I miss Ravnica, man. Ravnica needs to come back again. That was too epic. The whole lore related to Ravnica and everything around it was just so much cooler. That said, I'm getting really distracted again and into my freaking nerdisms. But that essentially. Oh, sorry, my dog's being a big nerd again. Luna! What are you doing? That's not for you. Drop it. Hey. No. Good girl. Um, yes, tangents, nerdisms. Luna is, listen, Luna is a constant. If there's two constants in my streams, it's technical difficulties and my dog. My dog who just desperately tries to yeet herself constantly. Other things that I have been doing in the background that I just do because it strikes my interest. Resin crafting. I have resin supplies. I have things that I have been messing with in the efforts of just enjoying resin. Because like making dice, I wanted to start crafting dice. Unfortunately, with my limited equipment, I can't do that. Crystals. I have little crystal molds that I do that I pour on occasion. Just have really shiny, pretty rocks everywhere. PC building. Yes, I enjoy building PCs. I have. If it weren't so damn expensive to do that, I would probably do PC building streams because I really like it. It's like adult Legos. It's pretty fun. I currently have a stack of PC parts in my room that haven't been used yet because I'm missing a processor, and without that processor, I can't put the PC together. And I'm not doing an AMD build this time. I'm doing an Intel build. I'll probably do an AMD build if I build a third PC, but that's unlikely unless I want to do like a custom build. Which I do. I do want to do that, but not at this juncture in my life and point in time. So that's going to be a project for something else. Might look into building PCs for other folks. Would be fun. But that's kind of like castle in the sky kind of stuff. What else have I done? Photography! I have a T5i Rebel that I've been trying to use more and more. I suck at it. And I have forgotten almost everything about my photography class from 6+ years ago. But that's okay. Have I played Risk of Rain 2? No, I have not. I've heard of it. And I think I actually have Risk of Rain 1. But it's not a game I care about. It's kind of like, I've seen gameplay for it. And it's just like a chaotic shooter where you try to live as much as possible, as far as I can tell. Would I want to? At this juncture, no, not really. Like, I mean, it's not a bad game. I don't think it's a bad game. The gameplay for it looks pretty hectic. Just, I'm so busy. And I have already so many other games that I want to play more that I don't see myself playing Risk of Rain soon. If that makes sense. But I appreciate you asking. Speaking of, we're gonna be playing, hopefully, we're gonna be playing some Among Us this Thursday. If we can get enough people to join for that. I think we need like 10 players to have any kind of meaningful gameplay or significant game. Or at least 8 players. I can't remember what the minimum is. It was either 8 or 10. But if we can't get that many, then we'll probably just do some Phasma. No, we're not doing mods. We're just doing basic Among Us. I was gonna do Fall Guys, but I had a hiccup with Epic Games, of course, and getting my data, because I haven't played Fall Guys in so long, that I lost everything I had. And then Epic Games, I guess, instituted, not Epic Games, but I guess the studio that did Fall Guys did battle passes and stuff like that, but more obnoxious than before, and changed how the game works. And after trying it a couple rounds, I decided, you know what, I don't want to play this for the holidays, which is sad because it's super hilarious with other people. Or it was super hilarious. The gameplay I had was not very satisfying, unfortunately. So that's a shame. But Among Us and Phasmophobia are on the list. Monster Hunter Rise are on the list for this month. I might swap Monster Hunter Rise out for Sunhaven, depending on how I feel about it. But that is probably just gonna stay Monster Hunter. But, I am almost out of time for tonight. So if you guys have any questions, you can always ask them anytime, and not just here. You can drop a ping in my Discord chat. I really don't care about pings. I've noticed that a lot of you guys, when you do chat on Discord, you're like, oh, but I don't want to bother her. Oh, but I don't want to ping her. Ping me, please. I always hang out in the chat, so I see a lot of what's typed. Yes, but if you have something to say to me or something to suggest, um, then ping me, please, so I see it. Because if you don't ping me, then I'm just not gonna respond. Not because I hate you, but because I won't notice. Thoughts on cooking highlights stream coming up to Thanksgiving. I don't cook, and I don't enjoy cooking that much, so that will not be happening, unfortunately. But oh, I see some pings. Yeah, hi guys. But no, I will not be doing a cooking stream, unfortunately. Sorry to all my avid fans who want to see me cook. I can't cook. There is I'm literally hiding nothing there. This isn't a sentry situation where it's like I can't fly but I still kill people. No, I literally can't cook. I can't cook and I'll still kill people, but because my cooking is so bad. I am a disaster in the kitchen. But I do love food. Um have I considered meme reviews? I think that's more like a larger streamer thing. I don't have a problem with seeing funny videos, but I don't think it would be very interesting to react to them on stream. But it's an idea, maybe down the line when the community's a bit bigger. But I wouldn't do that like now. You no, I appreciate the offer, guys, but cooking and me are just not on agreeable terms right now. Once they are, I will consider it. As for other things that are happening on stream, I feel like I'm forgetting something really important, and I can't remember what it was. Like something I genuinely had to talk about, and I can't remember what it was. I'm sad. Oh! Do you guys care for trading card streams? Like, it's not something I typically play, and I probably won't play a lot to begin with, but just TCG in general. Or, like, I would probably just do Pokemon TCG, honestly, because that's what I enjoy. But, I don't know, I'm just really on the fence about it. It's not really what I focus on the most, and it's not, like, my main thing. My main thing's mostly collecting. But if you guys want to see me do Pokemon cards, I guess I could do some of that. Pokemon. Speaking of Pokemon, I have been on such a Pokemon kick lately. Oh, I don't do Yu-Gi-Oh. I do Pokemon. Pokemon and some Magic, but I don't generally play a lot of Magic, so mostly Pokemon. I know how to play Magic, and I learned recently how to play Commander thanks to some really amazing people at the local game store. But I think if I were to do a stream, it would probably just be TCG, and mostly TCG online to begin with. The other thing is that the Pokemon Company has been updating their TCG game, which is admittedly pretty old. I still have my old account somewhere. I gotta see about logging into that and seeing if it's still good. But I heard they're rolling out a beta for one of their new TCG. Freaking, I can't talk. Beta for their new TCG system overall, and I'm hoping that they'll be willing to make that tournament legal. Because it would be, first off, it would be really cool. And second off, I think it would be opening up a lot of league opportunities for individuals that otherwise can't go to physical tournaments. I can go to physical tournaments, however, the tournaments in my area aren't of quality. Meaning, there aren't even enough people to have a tournament to begin with. Which is making me big sad. And I've also looked into becoming a Pokemon professor to start organizing my own events. But that's a lot of work and time investment that I just don't currently have available. So who knows what'll happen with that in the future, if it happens. But I think it would be really cool to discuss. Here's my issue with the online TCG not already being tournament legal. And that mainly comes down to the fact that Pokemon Go has world championships before the online TCG does. I get that the physical TCG has world championships as well. That's been there for years. That's the first thing they had world championships for. A lot, and then they had video game world championships. But why does Pokemon Go, an arguably laggier and less secure game for this kind of stuff, get world championships, but the online version of TCG doesn't? Explain that to me. Please. I just want to compete with people that aren't near me. I just want to see how I want to see how I measure up. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll see where it goes. I'll see how I feel about it. This winter is gonna be kind of an interesting one because I've been on such a kick collecting Pokemon cards, and I have a freaking 60+ stack of TCG code cards that I have to go through and redeem online. That's gonna take me forever just to see what I get. But we'll see. Anyways, I've been talking your guys' ears off for over an hour and a half. I didn't realize I had so much to say. But I appreciate you guys coming out to just hang out with me and chill. It's been nice to be able to just talk to folks. Even if most of the talking back is chat related, which is fine. It's just been really nice to talk about some of the things that interest me. If you guys are interested in hearing more about my projects in real time, or basically when I'm thinking about them, because I am for sure not talking about everything on my mind here, I really recommend joining the Discord again. We do have a custom link, discord.gg/Meepachan, and I'm there every day. You can ping me there, you can message me there, you can talk to me there, send me your suggestions. You can take part in art competitions, creative contests. You can post writing, some of your own videos. We have roleplay channels for folks who want to do that. I am an avid role player myself, so I get it. And just all sorts of stuff. If you want to be a part of Community Squad Night or other community nights, that's also the place to be. Things like Cult of the Lamb, Century Squads, which I do run voice chats for on stream, and what was the other one? Phasmo. Yeah, when we play Phasmo, I post an emote there, and if you post an emote, you get to be a part of the group for the night. So again, you want to be a part of that kind of activity? Discord.gg/Meepachan. In any case, that's gonna be it for tonight, guys. My throat's getting rough, so I think that's my call sign to wind it down. But thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!